Welcome back, everyone, to the Crash the Pond podcast. It is a Wednesday, March 11th edition, and geez, I keep forgetting today is Wednesday. I thought today was Tuesday for half the day. The week is just flying by.
I went the opposite way. I thought today was Thursday multiple times. I've also just lost track of what day it is, so there's that. It feels like it's been 4 days of work in 3 days for me so far this week. Been one of those.
Yeah. Well, we're here to talk about hockey. We're here to talk about the Ducks. We're here to talk about their success. And that has been contentious at times to have that be the topic. So
what do you mean?
what do you mean? Just giving Jake a hard time. Jake wanted to do a certain topic, and I wasn't sure if that would be the most.
I think it's a good topic.
We're here to people please.
This is a good topic. The one I came up with, I thought was great. I thought it was great conversation. I thought that we could.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Leading the way to see if the Ducks can, where they will end up at point wise, where that could potentially lead them in the division, and if they could end up winning the division with that point total. I thought it was a good idea.
I didn't say it was bad.
Okay.
But it gives you an opportunity to go the other way.
Potentially.
That's the aspect of, and that's the thing. It's not.
That was not my intent with it. That actually wasn't my intent.
Anyway, so let's just kind of dive into it. So as we sit here today, the Ducks are first in the Pacific Division, and
they are.
The NHL season is on its way to being over. The Ducks have played 64 games. They have 75 points. They sit atop the Pacific, and they have a game in hand on the Oilers and the Golden Knights. They're ahead in everything, and it's hilarious because they are number one in the division, yet they are the team that has the negative goal differential. So that's always funny to see. But they are number one, and we are now in a reality, in a world where, I'll just say it, the Ducks are going to the playoffs. Barring a catastrophe, barring something going really, really wrong, we are going to be talking about playoff hockey regarding the Anaheim Ducks come this spring. And I think that deserves its own little moment. That deserves its own little shine before we start thinking of ways that they may drop or forecasting the schedule. You know, there should be a moment of praise for the fact that this is a big moment. You know, we're talking about 8 years since 2018 that the Ducks haven't even sniffed the postseason. I mean, forget being number one; they haven't even been in the conversation. Yeah. And now they're going to do it. They're going to be in the playoffs, and it's worth underlining and highlighting and bolding and italicizing.
Well, and it comes on the back of kind of coming off the Olympic break, and we can break down each game individually and maybe say maybe they should have done better, maybe they should have done worse, who knows, things like that. But at the end of the day, they have gone, I'm trying to just do the quick math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've gone 6-2 since the Olympic break, picking up a 12 of a possible, what would it be, 12 of 16 points. Like, if you're looking for a reason why they are locked in for a playoff spot, it's that stretch right there. And now, granted, they were also great prior to the Olympic break, like that homestand that was combined from before and after the Olympic break. They were winning everything, coming off that crazy losing streak that they had at the beginning of January into late December. And they've kind of rebounded from that. And this stretch here is really what's catapulted them. And it just, they could have lost momentum from that side of it and really puttered a bit coming off that Oilers game to start where they were down 2, the Jets game where they were down. Like, they've had tough games and not cakewalks necessarily. And they've found ways to get wins, and that's put them in this position. And at the end of the day, we love talking about the numbers. The numbers are important for looking at how this team could do long term. But if you're able to find a way to have a hot streak and maybe outdo the numbers long enough, you find yourself in a really good position to be able to be in the playoffs. And that's kind of what the Ducks have done coming off the Olympic break. And in large part, it's being driven by the young talent. I think I was skeptical because of what we saw at the end of last year with the Greg Cronin experience and what he did to those guys of if we would see the jump. But to your credit specifically, and a lot of people, but you were the one that mentioned this on the show, like, what happens if those guys do take the jump? where does this team end up? And you and I both kind of put low 90s in the 90s potentially is where they could get, right? And that's appears where they're trending. And you look at what the reason for the success is, and defensively, this team is still a bit of a fire wagon at times. Last night, notwithstanding, like that was a very good defensive performance. But what's driving this is Leo Carlson, Beckett Senica, Cutter Gauthier. Like Troy Terry has been hurt a decent amount of this year. Mikael Granlund, the big offseason signing, hurt most of the year. Chris Kreider's been solid, but not really a driving force necessarily. Like this is on the back of the young talent all taking a step. And I think if you were a Ducks fan trying to look for a massive positive outside of just this team making the playoffs, which in itself is insane, it's the fact that it's built on the back of these young players that are going to be here for the next decade.
Well, yes, but also if you really want to get specific, it's really built on the back of 3 young players because, well, let's go with 4 because the 3 forwards I'm thinking of, Gauthier, Carlson, and Seneca, have all already eclipsed 50 points. They're all at 20 goals plus. Lacombe has 45 points, and they're doing it with Mason McTavish having a bit of a, I don't want to call it a step back of a season, but certainly not a step forward. He has 32 points in 59 games and just hasn't really lived up to the kind of the billing that his contract gave him before the season started. And so you really want to dive into it. They're doing it on the back of kind of 4 guys up front, the skaters, and then of course Lucas Dostal. We can't not mention him as part of this, who is a guy that the Ducks drafted. And what's interesting to me is that this Ducks team hasn't really changed as the season has gone on. They've just kept doubling down on what they do well, which is that they are an elite offensive team because their defensive numbers have not really improved. They haven't improved since the season started. They're still one of the worst defensive teams, but now they're firmly in that top 5 offensive teams. And so on average, you kind of wash that all out, and they're about break even at 5-on-5 because of that. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to defend very well, but we're going to give it all back offensively. And it's made for one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the league because you really don't know what you're ever going to get. I mean, the game against the Canadiens last Friday was one of the most entertaining games that I've seen in a long time, and the Olympics just happened. And then you had the game against St. Louis where they kind of put up a stinker. Then you have the game against Winnipeg where they really have a kind of a wire-to-wire win, if you want to call it that. And it's just, you really never know what you're going to get from this team on a nightly basis.
Yeah, that win against Winnipeg, I wasn't fully able to watch the game against the Islanders going back to the week before, but the game against Winnipeg is, I think, the only one where you felt a lead was safe. I feel like in all of the other games since the Olympic break, whether the Ducks were winning that game or losing that game, it felt like no lead was safe, that it could turn on its head extremely quickly with the quality of chances that both teams were getting. And I think it was last week's episode we talked about this, but just the progression in Beckett Senica's game, I think, is one of the biggest things for this team. Because I think Leo Carlson has taken a step, but I think in large part his play this season has remained a constant. Like when he's able to find open ice, he is a dangerous player, but there hasn't necessarily, like I think you mentioned, this was way back when in October, November, that adding a B game is going to be necessary long-term, and I don't know if he's necessarily added that. I feel like Beckett Senica has found his game and is one of the most impactful players on the ice for this team this season overall. And then Gauthier is just kind of the trigger man and finds ways to get his shot in and is a lethal shooter as well. And so that just is a potent combination for this team overall. And it's kind of crazy to think that, I mean, I mentioned it, Troy Terry's been hurt a lot of the season. Like he is playing, let's see, he's only played 46 games. He's missed almost 20 games this season. Still is having one of his best seasons of his career, 45 points in 46 games. I think he's a bit slept on just because of that. Like I did not realize he has had that many points this season because he only has 13 goals and he's only played that much, but he is only 1 point under point per game this season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what was unfortunate is that he was having that great production, having that great season, and now he's pretty much being robbed of what would be a career high. What was his point total when he made the All-Star team? Was that like a 60 something?
Let's
point
see.
season.
I
I don't think he ever hit 70.
He had a 67-point season. 67
Yeah.
points followed up by 61 points.
Yeah, I mean, he would have eclipsed that easily if
Yeah.
he had just been healthy. So that's unfortunate.
Hell, he has a chance
yeah.
to get into the 60s still this season.
He does. He'll have to keep up his pace. It's not going to be easy, but he has a chance, and we wish him that.
Also,
but
depending
it's interesting
on when he
because
gets back.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even think is he even skating? I don't even think he's skating yet.
He's on the trip, but I think Zach reported that he is ruled out for the entirety of the trip. That he's just on the trip to be on the trip.
Yeah. But you brought up Beckett Senica, though, and I was rewatching the games, just the shifts with Seneca and McTavish the last couple games, and it is crazy because you have this line now with Granlund and McTavish alongside Seneca, and it is crazy how you're watching this line, and Seneca is the driver of that line. He's 19 years old, and yet he is the focal point of everything that happens with that line. Like he's the one creating all the plays, he's the one taking all the risks, and everything kind of happens because of him when he's out there, for good and for bad. It's so funny to me that he still makes very questionable decisions. Like against Winnipeg, there are a couple times where he's dancing at the blue line on his backhand, and it didn't burn him. But then you have plays where he comes down 2-on-1, looks off McTavish, and tries to go short side on Connor Hellebuck, just ho-hum, trying to sneak one upstairs on one of the best goalie in the world right now. And then you watch McTavish and Granlund alongside him, and it's clear what their jobs are. Their jobs are win battles and get the puck to Beckett Senica. And to think that is the case from, you rewind a year where we didn't even know if Beckett Senica was going to be in the NHL at all. Then you fast forward to training camp. We didn't think he would stick because of the way he was playing. Now fast forward to March, and not only is he firmly an NHLer, but he's the driver of a top 6 line in the NHL. And oh, by the way, on one of the best offensive teams in the league. I mean, it's you really have to you can't really undersell how crazy of a trajectory that is for this team, and that to me is why they're in the position they are. Because if you take him out of the picture, it's kind of the same team it was last year. Like, yeah, some guys are playing well, but without Seneca doing what he's doing, I mean, I don't think this team is close to the position they're in. I mean, you almost have to wonder, like, does he deserve a 10th place Hart Trophy vote? Like, he's really changed the trajectory of this team.
Yeah, he 100% has. But you want to get into some of these games, or you want to do a good, bad, open ice? How do we want to do this?
Well, so what I'll say is this. Watching the Canadiens game, watched it very intently. I don't think either team played very well in that game.
I would agree.
It was a shootout. Literally, it was a shootout. And the Ducks capitalized at times. The Ducks drove the play at times. They also benefited from some very poor goaltending at times. They also got robbed. It was just fun. It was just a fun hockey game to watch, but I'm not sure if it was the kind of game where I'm going to have big takeaways, because it was just, I don't want to call it sloppy, but it was sloppy adjacent for both teams.
Here is my big takeaway from that. It has nothing to do with the entirety of the game. It has to do with a singular situation that is hitting me right now, which is 6-on-5 for the Ducks. It feels like they have done a very good job. I have zero numbers on this. This is something come off the cuff right now. Don't have any numbers behind how many goals they've scored versus how many they would have given up in a 6-on-5 with the empty net. But it feels like this team has found ways to score those goals in those situations. And I do think that is a specific situation where Chris Kreider and the acquisition of Kreider has paid dividends, because I think if you think about the players on this team, he's really the only one that I think has that innate skill, not at Joe Pavelski level, but the innate skill to tip pucks in those situations. And when you have that many players on the ice, it's very difficult to find space to create a really dangerous look in the slot or with a cross-ice pass and that type of stuff. And so a lot of times you really default to the point shots and hope for chaos and a tip and finding a puck. And I think that is a situation where having a Chris Kreider has paid dividends for this team. And I'd be curious if I went back and looked up how many goals he has scored specifically in that situation to bring the Ducks back from being down to tying a game. And then we've talked about it last episode with how proficient this team is, both at 3-on-3 and a shootout, how that specifically has taken this team from getting no points to getting 2 points. And you can really look at that situation and that goal, and you can't assign the value of 2 points to that goal, but you can in some ways try to. And so I think that's my takeaway from this game specifically is, yes, it was fire wagon hockey. Yes, there's all of that. Yes, it was an entertaining game. But from a long-term takeaway, it seems like that is one thing that adding Chris Kreider has helped this team out a lot with.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily long-term because I don't know how long Chris Kreider's going to be there, but
sure.
Yeah.
I meant like repeatable.
I know what you're
wise.
saying.
Like not long-term, but
Yeah.
in terms of not just in this game, but for the season and moving forward this season.
Yeah, well, going into that game, the Canadiens led the league with 19 comeback wins, and the Ducks tied that mark because they were at 18 going into the game. And so they come back and win, and the whole thing was just, I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, it was kind of like one of those games where you close your eyes for 2 seconds and something else crazy has happened. I don't know. I guess it's not really the most satisfying takeaway from it. I thought that there were a lot of good individual offensive performances from different players in the Ducks. You mentioned Chris Kreider, Cutter Gauthier getting to 32 goals, Jackson Lacombe also getting on the board. But it just, I don't know. It was, I don't want to call it burn the tapes, but it was just a crazy game. And that kind of game, I will say, did bring out to me, at least watching it from a Mason McTavish standpoint, because I did want to talk about him a bit more. But this game was all speed for both teams because the Canadiens are really fast and they're very skilled, and the Ducks are also very fast. And it was kind of obvious in this game that, you know, McTavish doesn't necessarily thrive in these environments, and I'm very curious how that's going to look in the playoffs. And then as far as the St. Louis game, I mean, is there anything else to say besides the Ducks just didn't play well, or do you also want to take? Do you want to take it a step further and say that they got what they had coming for a little while?
I mean, yeah, I think if you want to take the long-term approach of like of regression to the mean, I think you could definitely take that approach here because you look at some of the numbers, like the trend for the Ducks since the Olympic break from a 5-on-5 on-ice place perspective has not been great. They have been giving up a ton of chances, and in some of the games, Dostal has not been great. Look at the game against the Avalanche. I mean, he came up with some big saves against Montreal at certain points in time, but still allowing as many goals as he did was not great. But, like, he came up big against the Oilers. He's come up big in other games. Husso was great against the Islanders, and that really is what drove it for them at various points in time, and then they had the elite talent. This was, I think, the flip side of that, where the offense wasn't there at all, but the defense was still as poor. And that's what happens in those situations, or you don't get the goal kind of against the run of play. And so this to me was, in reality, probably what should have happened more over this homestand, and it shouldn't have been a 6-2 stretch, maybe more like a 5-3, a 4-4 stretch in some of the games. But that's kind of what this game was to me. It was a bit of the same, but they actually got punished in it for it.
Well, what really stood out was how bad the power play was. I mean, is that a problem that's just not going to be solved this season? Because they're still bottom tier in the league, and watching them trying to execute against the Blues was painful.
I mean, that's, I would assume, the reason why you get John Carlson.
Yes. I mean, think about it. They have done all this with a poor power play.
Yeah.
So if the power play can just be average,
yeah,
that's going to help quite a bit.
I mean, to me, the story of that game was just the defensive breakdowns, which have continued to happen in a lot of games, and then just weren't able to generate any offense off the rush, any offense off in-zone offense. Like, the offense was not there. The offense was not clicking at any different point, and defensively, they were just kind of bleeding chances from the slot.
Yeah, which is something that they've done all season. One other thing I wanted to note about this game is that McTavish was a winger in this game. He was listed as a wing. He only played 12 minutes in this game, And I also just thought that he looked very, I mean, he was just kind of there. He was just kind of a guy in this game. And he looked a lot better against Winnipeg, but the Ducks as a team also looked a lot better. Beckett Senica had a lot to do with that, as did Mikael Granlund. But where are we at on Mason McTavish? I just want a temperature check, because we talked about it a bit last podcast, but it just seems to me like the arrow is starting to trend either flat as a plateau or maybe down, because once you start seeing a center getting moved around, from wing to center or taking less faceoffs, usually you can't really put the genie back in the bottle. Usually that's not a great sign.
Trevor Zegras, for instance.
Yes.
I mean, it's certainly concerning. I mean, this is... You and I were both of the opinion of just pay Mason McTavish. You've made your bed. This is the guy to get. But we also were cautious of, this is a guy that has some flaws. And in prior seasons, we had talked about whether he was the one to trade versus Trevor Zegras from a long-term perspective for this team. And I think that this is just kind of who McTavish is, right? I think this season probably worse than what you would expect from an offensive production perspective. But I think he realistically is just kind of going to be a 40 to 50-point guy, flawed defensively. People, I think, overhyped what he could necessarily become and thought of him too highly from a defensive side of things, when I think this is just kind of who he is. And I think maybe that's draft pedigree. Being a third overall pick had kind of led to that a little bit. But I'm really curious where this goes long term. I'm curious if the Ducks look to move him in this offseason or as a result of that, if they really try to ride it out with him, where that ends up. And if that happens, did they make a mistake not exploring that last summer? Because I think his value is probably lower right now than it would have been last summer when he was a RFA and there were teams sniffing around that. And Verbeek made it clear he was not going to be trading him. So that's not to say that I think they have to trade him, that his career's in the dumps, but I think what we're seeing is this is just kind of who he is. He's going to be probably, I think on a contending team, he's a third liner. I think that's realistically who he is. And I think maybe he can slip in on a second line wing, as a winger on a second line, but third line center, I think, is probably what he is going to be if this team is contending.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, is that I think that if he's going to be in a top six on a playoff team or a contending team, I don't think he's a center on a contending team, just because of the skating. He doesn't, it's not even just the pure speed. It seems, there are some guys who get around the ice and it seems kind of it seems effortless. They just glide around. And with him, it seems the opposite. He's kind of dragging around and he's not the quickest. He also isn't the I don't want to say he's lazy, but he doesn't necessarily work the hardest to get to spots. He kind of floats a little bit. And I think that's him trying to anticipate the play. And that's probably how you get all these breakdowns that he's involved with, is he's just a step behind. And in the playoffs, when the game gets even faster, I just don't see how that works. So we're going to see. Maybe he'll turn it around and he'll make us look foolish. But this season does feel like maybe a little bit of a low point, but not a huge deviation from what we've seen either. Like the fact that he's not really taking off in his fourth full NHL season, you're just running out of runway. Like, okay, fifth season, maybe he'll look a lot different, but I think it's possible that he did peak at kind of a 50-ish point guy who can be a solid complementary player and a top six, but not a true driver. I think I agree with you, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
young players, it's weird because they can look bad one week and then look great the next. So you don't want to go too crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think we have anything from the seasons past. I think a lot of the discussion around McTavish was projecting what he would be, but I think it's possible just kind of what he was as a 21, 22-year-old is what he's now as a 23, 24, 25-year-old. Because, for those that don't know, prime for hockey players has been statistically proven to be around 24 is when you enter that. And so you don't there is improvement that can happen after 24. That's not to say that everyone's different. All people are different. This is not a one size fits all statement, But for the most part, like once he hits 24, that's kind of who he is as a player long term. And he is 23 years old right now. So he has one more year to potentially grow into that prime. But I think realistically, 50-ish points is where he'll be at. And I think on a good team, that's third liner.
And the question now becomes, too, if he's not truly a second-line center on a championship team, that does change the picture a little bit for the Ducks because they need to figure out that position. Well, maybe it'll be Roger McQueen.
I mean, that's why looking back, we were like to last week, we were talking about Robert Thomas. And you saw that in the game against the Blues on the weekend and what Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou both bring. Like those both, like they are not the reason the Blues are bad. And if you can pry that, like picture if you were able to pry him out of there by trading them. I mean, the first round pick that the Ducks gave up for John Carlson, which is the only, like, that is the main critique of the Carlson move, is that you now don't have that first round pick to potentially try to move it in like a Robert Thomas type deal that helps this team long term. It's not that John Carlson hurts this team, John Carlson helps this team. But man, using that first and Mason McTavish to try and plus to try to get Robert Thomas, and you see what Robert Thomas could do, like, that would have made this team this season for me go from they are kind of locked into the playoffs now, where to the point where I think that if they had gotten Robert Thomas looking back instead of a John Carlson, like, do you think that they would be a team that you could think could make the conference final this season?
Yeah, because of the Pacific.
Yes. But like that is also just how much of an impact they could still do that now. But that's just how much of an impact Robert Thomas has, is that he makes that feel a lot more likely.
Well, one thing to point out is that the Ducks still do have a lot of draft capital. Like they have 3 second-round picks in 2027. True. So they still have stuff that they can trade off. And I just don't think that – I'm not convinced that the Blues were that serious about trading him this season unless they got like a Godfather offer. Because I'm sure they got legitimate offers.
Weren't the rumors about Owen Power – being in a deal for Robert Thomas? Wasn't that the rumor du jour?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was like there was a discussion of Robert Thomas and Colton Parayko both going to Buffalo, and it was like a first and Owen Power and plus.
I do think being out your first does make it harder to get Thomas, but they still could put something together that would entice the Blues, because so I think that what I'll say is that what the Ducks don't have in picks, or at least what they don't have in a first this year, they haven't drafted players who are closer to the NHL.
That's fair.
Who do have value,
who probably hold more value than that first round pick.
Right, exactly, especially at this point.
That's fair.
Yeah, point. and then the Winnipeg game, the Ducks just played really well. I thought that it was really interesting watching the third period that the Ducks did sit back pretty considerably, but the Jets just refused to shoot the puck. The Jets were controlling play. The Jets were possessing the puck, and they had so many opportunities where they were in the slot, like Mark Scheifele down low, and would just look it off, and the crowd was doing the Bronx cheer. The crowd had a solid 5 to 10 minute stretch where they were just loudly cheering every shot, and it was hilarious. Love Canadian crowds. But yeah, that was probably their best. I mean, that was their best win probably post Olympic break. Yeah. And now here we are, they're in first place. And now we look ahead to see how highly they can finish. Yeah.
And so that game, it was just a start to finish. They were dominant. It was, I think I put in Discord that it was a mature and boring game, and that was meant endearingly, not negatively. And
I will say though that they were definitely creating offensively. They had really kind of exciting flashes. There was one play where, again, Beckett Senica just kind of making stuff up on the fly at the blue line, just kind of leaves it off for more. Moore kind of does a fake and then goes and finds Minchikov, and it was just like, it's so crazy how much creativity is just brewing between all these young players, including the defensemen. So yeah, it was boring in the sense that there wasn't really much doubt as to who would win, but you could still see the skill on display.
Well, and it felt, by mature and boring, I felt like once they picked up the 3-1 lead, especially in the third, I thought that while yes they sat back, I think that they did it in the way that you would want to sit back. It wasn't a give up the puck, let them enter the zone, that type of situation. It was clog up, get the puck back, kind of go and play a bit more of a boring third period overall. And that's kind of more so what I was getting at with that. But you're right. All right. So are we doing my topic? Is that what you're saying?
Go for it. Do your thing.
All right.
I'll just sit here and watch.
Well, you're going to do it also. This is both of us doing it. So something I was thinking about was, okay, the Ducks are at, I'm looking at it right now, 75 points in 64 games, meaning there are, 18 games left in the season? I want to just do a quick run through to figure out exactly how many points we expect the Ducks to end up at based upon going through the schedule. And I'm going to caveat this. Purely looking at 5-on-5 expected goal rates and just kind of saying if we think the game's going to be close and given overtime, I mean, the Ducks aren't losing games in overtime, but maybe we give an overtime loss here and there, but whether they win or lose the game overall. So let's start, though. We're just going to go game by game for the next however many weeks until the season is over. And so this week, starting right now, they're going to be playing Toronto tomorrow. Who do you think wins that game, the Ducks or the Leafs?
They're gonna win that game. The Leafs
I would agree. So they are 1-0. Then on Saturday they play at Ottawa.
The Senators are weird because they have great numbers and yet they do not win a lot of games. I'm gonna say, I'll say the Ducks win that game as well.
I'll say the Ducks win that game as well. I'll give them 2 points. So they're at 2-0. Now they go on back-to-backs in Montreal.
I think they lose this game.
I think they
I'm
probably
a little biased.
I know you are biased, but I also think
But you saw how the last game went. You saw the last game went. It was a coin flip game, and now you have the travel going against the Ducks' favor,
and likely Ville Husso in net also.
Is that a bad thing?
Husso hasn't been bad. He's not Dostal though.
Well, sure.
Like I think I like if they give up the chances they gave up against Montreal, they maybe give up more goals.
I just realized what next week's game is on Wednesday.
The Ducks come home to have a single game at home against the Philadelphia Flyers.
The Zegras return game. That's going to be fun.
Oh,
that's going to be so much fun.
Get their redemption after that game in Philadelphia?
I think so. I think the Flyers are not having a very good second half to the season.
I would agree with that, even if it's more of a coin flip from a numbers perspective. So we're at 3-1 right now so far?
I'm at 6 points. I'm just keeping track of points.
I'm fine with that. Then the Ducks go to Utah and play in Utah. Utah is having a very good season, and their underlying numbers are very good. They are the better team at 5-on-5. I think if we're purely kind of looking at underlying numbers and kind of trying to judge it off that, even though we gave them the game against Ottawa, even though Ottawa is better, I think this game you give Utah the edge.
I think Utah is also a little more motivated because they're in a bit of a dogfight, whereas the Ducks' position is more secure.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll go Utah there. Buffalo on Sunday.
Sunday.
Can anyone beat the Sabres?
I mean, the funny thing is the Sabres and the Ducks are very similar at 5-on-5 in terms of underlying numbers, but the Sabres
the Sabres just never lose.
I think this is a game where we gave the Ducks the game against Philly when they're close in numbers. We gave them the game against Ottawa, even though Ottawa's better. I think Buffalo, this is a tough one. I think you give it to Buffalo.
I could see the Ducks taking...
Someone in a YouTube chat saying that was a real sentence, LOL.
I think that this one... I'll give them a point in this game.
I'm good with that.
Because I could see this one being another kind of Montreal-Anaheim type game.
Okay.
And it goes to overtime.
So we're at 7 points now? I lost track of record, so I'm just going
7
up
points.
I like that better.
Yeah.
All right, Vancouver, I'm just going to say win.
Yeah, that's a win. The Canucks don't want to win.
What about Calgary? Calgary's been weird this season playing the Ducks, where I actually
Ryan
think
Strome revenge game.
Well, I don't think the Ducks have played well against the Flames, yet they've won both games in overtime. But I think the Flames have outplayed the Ducks in those games.
I think they beat the Flames. I just do.
Okay.
The Flames aren't good.
So 11 points. Then the
Oilers.
they go to Edmonton. Midday
This
game
is a
on
huge
Saturday.
game. This is
Yeah.
a big game for seeding purposes.
Yeah. I think Edmonton likely wins this one, just judging the underlying numbers. Edmonton's the better team. They have horrible goaltending.
Are you factoring in goaltending there?
Like I said, underlying numbers. Horrible goaltending, though.
I'm giving the Ducks this game.
I'm going to
Dostal always plays well in Edmonton.
I think that Edmonton. I think you're right about this game with the seeding, everything like that. I think Edmonton shows up. I think it's at home for McDavid. I think this game Edmonton wins.
Okay.
So what are we?
Then
at?
they get
11
Toronto
points still?
again at home. 6. Well, I'm at 13 points
Okay.
because I gave them a win that you didn't.
Against Edmonton. All right, I'm at 11. So wait, so you were at 13 points, right? You said.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the Ducks play Toronto at home. Let's just give them the win there. So I'm at 13 now. You're at 15.
I'm at 15.
Then they go to San Jose.
Big game. That's a big game for the Sharks.
Is it home?
It's on the road.
They go on the road at San Jose. Big game for the Sharks. The Ducks should win this game.
They should. I'll give them the 2 points in this game.
Okay. So I'm at
Man,
15.
their schedule's kind of the April is soft for the Ducks. They could do really well in April.
And realistically, we're giving them a lot of games. They're bound to lose. I think one of these, like whether it's the Vancouver game, the San Jose, I think that you're gonna have one stinker in here. I think.
Well, after the San Jose game, you have St. Louis, Calgary, and a back-to-back, which on paper you would say those are both wins, but I'll just say that they lose one of them and give them 2 points on that weekend.
I think they may lose both of those. Like I gave them the Calgary game earlier. I think that the Blues are better than they've shown. Like I think they may lose both of these games. So I'm at what? How many points were you at now?
Well, are you asking my points or your points?
Your points.
That sentence.
I'm 4 points below you.
I am at 15 points.
I thought I was at 15.
Well, anyway, just keep going. Doesn't matter.
Oh,
just keep going.
All right. Regardless,
just worry about your points. Like don't do this.
All right. So Nashville.
That's a win. That's a W.
Okay. San Jose. I say they lose this San Jose game. They won the previous one, and they're going to probably at this point be locked into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. Vancouver. They beat Vancouver.
Ugh, do they? They might be resting players or I feel like NHL you don't really see resting until like the last game or last 2 games at most. So that's another win. Minnesota, I'll give them an L.
Yeah, and Nashville on the road, final game.
I'll just say they lose the final game because it's just going to be a weird one.
Yeah, so I think I'm at 17 points.
I'm at 6. 5, 6, 7, 8. What am I at? I'm at 21 points. Is that possible?
So I think I was 4 points below you. I think we differed on 2 games.
I'm at 21 points. So that would mean that the Ducks would finish with 96 points.
96 points, and I'm at 17, which would put them at 92 points.
Okay.
96 with the Pacific could win the division.
Yeah.
I don't think 92 wins the division.
No. But it does. I think they stay out of the wild card in the 90s.
Is it possible that it's under 90 points that makes the playoffs this year?
Oh, yeah. I think it's likely for the wild card.
Yeah. But
yes,
all of this... Oh, go ahead.
The Kraken are at 67 points.
Yeah. I mean, all of this to say is kind of running through this. Like, the Ducks have a pretty easy schedule going down the stretch, and I think that they're in a good spot to make the playoffs. Like, they should be pretty locked in here. As long as they do what they should be doing, they're going to hit probably 90 to 9. I think 92 points at this point should be the expectation. I
think now the question is just more about seeding than will they or won't they. If we're being honest, like mostly just because there's nobody that I see nipping at their heels. And
Do you?
And Evolving Hockey has them projected for 94 points. So right in the middle of what we both said.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they win the division? It's a real question right now with how the division. Like, I think it's not exactly indicative of how good the Ducks have been. It's indicative, I think, of the Pacific being so bad this season, or just so.
I'll add this in the cut line for Evolving Hockey with the point projections. It has the Mammoth getting in with 93 points and the Kings getting in with 88. So
interesting. So Hockey Viz has the Ducks winning the division at 94 points.
Yeah, that's what Evolving does as well.
With Vegas at 90, the Pacific is really tight per Hockey Viz. Looking at this, it's the Ducks they have projected at 94 points, Vegas at 92, Edmonton at 91, LA at 91.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that we're having this conversation?
It's crazy
that we're talking about seeding.
I mean, here's really what
we're not talking about draft lottery positioning.
No, here's the thing that they need to avoid. I think it's highly unlikely if they fall into the wild card that they're going to be wild card 1. Like at this point, like Utah is 2 points behind them. I think it's possible if they fall down into the wild card, it's because they've fallen a bit. They've gone on a bit of a losing turn, and they'll be in wild card 2. I think for this team, that is just what they need to avoid. Because I think
you don't want to play the Avalanche.
You don't want to play the Avalanche because if you're playing the Avalanche, you're probably losing in 4 to 5 games. If you get Oilers,
you're not winning the round. I don't think.
True, but you're not winning the round, and you're barely getting any playoff experience because you're likely just getting torched.
See, I don't know about that. Like that is the part because you just never know. Like you never know in a playoff series.
Sure,
anything can happen.
That's why I said likely.
And we've seen the Avs get pushed in the past when they shouldn't have been. So
sure, Seattle.
Yeah, but yes, if they are the final wild card team, then they are in trouble. But I just don't see that. I don't even see that as a possibility. They would have to go into a slump, really, for that to happen.
They would.
The
interesting thing is
it's wild card 1.
Hockey Viz has the Kings projected to hit 91 points still. Where does Evolving have the Kings at?
88. And
okay,
I think these models are just lagging on the Kings. Or they're not, and it's just the Kings are a weird confounding team where how they play would dictate that they win more, and yet they still don't. I don't know.
Regardless, yeah. The Ducks at this point, they have a pretty easy schedule down the stretch. What's up?
Someone just put in the chat potato sack race in the Pacific, and I think that really encapsulates it pretty perfectly. Why am I just picturing like Connor McDavid, Leo Carlson
jumping,
and like Mark Stone just jumping in the potato sacks? Or is it a bobbing for apples race? It's something silly. Good shout.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, realistically, like Vegas is weird, where the sense that like the Ducks have played them really well this year, but I also think Vegas just has that like I feel like
they have that next gear.
Well, and I think in the playoffs it's going to be more suited to how they go, whereas the Ducks have won some games against them in 3-on-3, which is where the Ducks are really better than Vegas specifically. And so I think that doesn't happen in the playoffs. And so I think that's a tough series. I think the Ducks certainly have a chance to win some games and maybe even win the series. But the Vegas would certainly be favored in that situation. Edmonton is a crapshoot because I think Edmonton should be favored, but their goaltending is just so bad. Yeah. So bad where the Ducks with just their offensive capabilities, I think that they have a chance to really torch Edmonton in that series with the goaltending issues that they've been having, where I don't know if Edmonton could really keep up with that. So
here's a fun thought. If the Ducks, let's say the Ducks finish second or third in the Pacific, they win that round. So who would they would play the winner of
Utah
Wild Card 1 and Pacific 1.
Correct.
Let's say you get a second round of Utah Anaheim. how would you? I mean, now we're going way too far ahead, but
Sure, but
what
who
are your
cares?
thoughts on that series?
I think that's a fun series. First off,
Yes.
I think when those two teams have played, it's been extremely entertaining to watch. I think that is going to be like, I think Edmonton Anaheim could be a lot of fun, but I think that Edmonton, with having McDavid and with having the experience they have, I think they would try to shut it down a bit more at times and try to like lock down defensively, even though that's not something they've really been able to do at various points of time. But they've played deep into the playoffs. They know kind of the playoff style that happens. Whereas if you get the Ducks in Utah, two kind of young teams making their first foray into the playoffs, like these teams, I think would just open it up and just kind of go. And I think it would be a lot of fun to see. I think it would be a fun rivalry to start between Utah and the Ducks also. Like, I think that
Yes,
realistically,
because we've already seen it.
Like, what we have missed with the Ducks not being in the playoffs is like these rivalries that come from that playoff series. Like, that to me is the biggest issue with this playoff format. The more I think about it. Like, I know the intent with it was to create these internal rivalries within division, but it also sucks because you're forcing it only with these couple of teams, and you don't allow these organic rivalries to happen through the playoffs with teams that you might not have had a natural geographic rivalry with. And
Well, you also artificially prop up divisions that
sure,
you might not have teams making it in the first place.
I mean, yes,
there's
like
there's issues.
Utah could end up with the fourth most points in the division and be a wild card, or in the conference and be a wild card.
Yes, and that is problematic.
Yeah,
So finishing that conversation on this,
yeah,
can the Ducks make the Western Conference Final?
it's not out of the question.
Where would you put that percentage chance at instead of saying yes or no?
It's below 50%. It's less likely than it is likely. I would say
30?
25. A coin, like not a coin flip. Coin flip's 50-50. I'm dumb. 25%. Hey, I'm saying some people definitely think I'm dumb, so whatever. Sure, 25, 20%, something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
lower?
say. I kind of want to say higher. I'll say 33%. I'll go
Jack
with
of
the third
Silverberg
one out.
percentage.
There you go. 1 out of 3 times. Because it's almost like only one thing has to really go their way. They just have to win that first round, and then it's just open season from there. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
They also have to finish in the Pacific. Like, they cannot get down to the wild card.
Not necessarily, because if they're the wild card 1, then it's fine.
I'm gonna say it's
but they
unlikely if they fall to the wild card, they won't be wild card 1.
Maybe not. They have a better point percentage than the Mammoth.
Well, here's my reasoning for it. If the Ducks do fall into the wild card, it's going to be because one of Seattle or LA make a jump and really push the point pace there. And I think that it also requires a faltering from the Ducks to be able to fall out of that position. So it's not very likely that if the Ducks fall to a wild card position that they would end up being higher up than Utah unless Utah also falls off.
Are we writing off the Sharks?
No, like the Sharks could be.
What about the Predators?
I was about to say, are we writing off? Like, that's why that last game of the season against the Predators is interesting to me.
Could be massive.
The Predators, like, that could be a game the Predators need to make the playoffs, and the Ducks may just be locked into a seed. It also could, like, that could determine a playoff. Like, it's very unlikely at this point. But if the Ducks do falter, like, it could come down to that final game to make the playoffs.
Well, the Predators also subtracted from their team, which I think matters a bit here. Now, granted, they didn't blow up their team, but
They sent out Michael Bunting,
McCarron.
McCarron.
I mean, they got rid of top 9 forwards, which
Yeah.
is not going to help in a playoff race. So,
Yeah.
I think that it looks somewhat settled, but it could get interesting, and I would welcome that. Like, I like playoff races that go down to the wire when it's not my team involved. A footnote on Ryan Strome, since that's all he is now, is a footnote.
I mean,
He was traded.
Sucks that it, like, I think
We didn't even talk about it, but it's not that noteworthy, honestly.
No, I mean, two things can be true. Like, good on Verbeek for moving him for nothing when this is a player that wasn't going to play, and he did not have to do him that favor and get him out of here to play. But also, it's on Verbeek for the fact and the fact that he wasn't playing, that his value was so low that the only return that you could get was a 7th-round pick for him. Also, to the fact of he was playing well this season. I don't think he really was warranted a healthy scratch every single game for a Jeffrey VL or an Ian Moore playing wing. Like, it just felt suboptimal with him being out of the lineup. I'm happy for him that he's gone to a situation where he will be able to play, because I truly don't think, like, fairness obviously doesn't matter when it comes to professional sports. Like, at the end of the day, you not get what you deserve, because that's not really how it always works. But, like, this is a professional game. There's a lot of money on the line, different things like that. But I do think it was very unfair to him that he was not playing every game this season with how he was playing with his overall numbers. And so I think it is nice that he was at least moved to a situation where he's going to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he deserved to play. He was, it's not even just fairness. He was just better. He was visibly the better player in that bottom six, and Coach Q disagreed, and here we are. I will say, though, that now it's essentially just become a cap dump trade where the Ducks get out of his salary for next season. They don't have to retain. So if you just look at him as an just as an asset, like as a salary cap number, this is a good trade for the Ducks.
Sure,
but of course, to do that, you have to ignore some things, and that's not how this all works. So it's kind of a good trade from the cap management perspective, and a bad trade from a asset management and value management, and honestly, team quality management. Like, the Ducks would be better with Ryan Strome playing. So it's like I said on Twitter, it's a weird ending to a weird saga. I don't really understand how we got here, and now it's over. And I also, although I'm glad for him that he's playing, he's going to just play, period. Calgary is such a weird destination for him. Like they're not a playoff team. They're also not fully in the tank. Like, it's just kind of a place. Like, is he even on that team next season? Like, I don't know.
Probably. At this point, they needed him to hit the cap floor.
Right.
Like, that's why. So maybe they buy him out in summer. Who knows?
Yeah, I honestly have no clue.
Want to hit a few questions before we get on out of here?
Yep.
Or anything else you want to hit? All right, so we're going to start with our Patreon exclusive Discord. Go to patreon.com/crashthepond, where you can get access to the Discord. It's a really good time. A lot of people chatting all throughout the day about various different topics. So our good friend, Jack James, the genius, said, as of March 6th, the Ducks power play is currently at 18.5%. Do the Ducks have a 20% power play by the end of the season with John Carlson added into the mix?
To be honest, I never think about power plays anymore with that number in mind, because I don't keep track of it.
Yep.
But I do think generally that their power play should improve with John Carlson. I mean, a lot of what ails the Ducks power play is just puck management and making the smart play and just not screwing it up. And I think John Carlson obviously fixes that. I'm just curious how much he's going to play, because is Lacombe just going to be power play 2 now? Are we assuming that?
I would assume so. The question is, does Trouba stay on the power play?
No, that's not happening. But I'm curious how they manage.
He's been on power play 2 the whole time.
Yeah, but now there's John Carlson. Like, we don't have to do this.
But
we don't have to do this.
But it's been Zellweger and Trouba on power play 2. So it's like, does Zellweger just lose that spot and it's Lacombe and Trouba on power play 2?
Once this team is healthy, which maybe that'll never happen, Trouba's not on the power play.
He shouldn't be. I would agree.
Write that down. But I mean, it is going to be a little odd for Lacombe to just be. I think how does that go over in a locker room? It's like you have a first unit power play guy all season, all of a sudden it's like, oh, sorry, no longer your spot.
I don't think that matters that much. I think he would probably.
Does it help that
John
it's
Carlson?
Does it help that it's a Team USA guy, kind of a USA legend, John Carlson?
I think it helps that he's a power play. So like he's a guy that really has driven a power play for years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also someone brought up earlier in the YouTube chat. It's possible John Carlson doesn't help the power play in the sense of the Capitals' power play has been bad this year. Like, it's not as if they have this like super proficient power play that Carlson's been running. And now, granted, we have historical data on him being a very good power play forward, or not forward, power play defenseman. But that's not to say he's still been that this year. Although, what do the Rapham charts show? I haven't looked at it actually in a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I buying this narrative? Yeah, I mean they've been middle of the road. They've been better than the Ducks, but like how much of that is him versus the rest of the team? That's
the question. I'm
curious. His contributions are still positive, so
yes,
it's not.
I'm seeing that now also.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that, and it's also like we have an overwhelming sample of him being good at that.
Yep.
Now, granted, the thing to note is that he was successful in a very specific environment where the game plan was pretty obvious, and there's no Alex Ovechkin on this power play.
It does feel like lately they are trying to create that for Kutagoche. Not saying he obviously has a shot of Ovechkin, but it feels like I think on the last episode you had mentioned like they're not putting him in that position necessarily yet, but I was watching the last couple games and it feels like they are really trying to work for that shot from Gauthier lately. And so I wonder if that's going to be a thing.
And also we can't discredit Carlson's role in Ovechkin's success. I mean, you need someone to kind of set up those opportunities, especially when like the other team knows that that's what they're trying to do. Someone's got to get him that puck. So anyway, he will help them. I'm not worried about that.
Here's a real hard-hitting question. Are they going to find the right helmet for him?
I hope so. It's going to be really weird if he has a new Bauer helmet and not the old school
not the old school one in orange. Yeah. Somehow find a way to spray paint his Washington helmets.
Well, what I've heard through the grapevine of online hockey equipment groups is that the players get those helmets painted at like auto body shops now when they get traded, because Bauer just doesn't there aren't new models out there. So unless it's a white helmet or something like that, so he'll
don't wear white
at a minimum
anywhere.
Oh, that's right. They honestly should switch to white helmets just for John Carlson. Like, because otherwise, I was actually trying to Google it. I was Googling for just that model in orange, and I don't even know if it's ever
Probably
even been made in orange. Yeah, like I can't find it, and so he might just have to take his, let's Google
get the decals off, spray paint.
Yeah, like let's Google, if you're an auto body shop around Anaheim, hit up the Ducks and cut a
Let
deal.
them know you can spray paint it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's an easy job and it can probably look great. Maybe they did make those orange helmets because I remember they had. Now I'm going into a tangent, but they had like a see-through version of this helmet back in the day.
What?
Yeah,
what's the number on the helmet again? I forget. Bauer was it
4,500.
4,500 see-through.
It was kind of like a see-through look.
I'm seeing like a shiny version. I'm not seeing a see-through-ish version.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for the orange because that's not what they need. So
yeah.
I mean, honestly, though, it would be better for John Carlson to switch because
these helmets are not great.
That helmet's a piece of what, and yeah, like the foam in there's no way that that's actually protecting you. Like it's crazy that guys are choosing to wear that still. It's just a piece of foam and hard plastic. Like compare that to all the materials you see now in the modern helmets, and he would be better off just switching helmets, but he won't because he's an NHL player and that's what they do. So,
yeah. All right, let's get
someone in the chat 340 Valent saying my dad will paint the helmet easily. Yeah, I feel like all the dads. This is like a classic dad task. Like paint my helmet. Like I'm sure someone can do this. This is doable.
Man,
we're gonna outsource it.
I have a very big tangent right now. See, looking at those helmets and looking at it reminded me, for whatever reason, do you remember this Randy Carlyle quote? I think it was when he was in Toronto. And I just Googled it to get the exact quote so I wasn't misquoting. I have a theory on concussions. I think the reason there's so much of more of them, obviously, the impact and the size of equipment and the size of players. But there's another factor. Everyone wears a helmet, and under your skull, when you have a helmet on, there's a heat issue. Everyone sweats a lot more. The brain swells. The brain is close to the skull. Think about it. Does it make sense? Common sense. I don't know why that helmet like made me think of that with that foam in there.
He said that?
Yeah,
That's
this was a Randy
quote?
That's a real quote from Randy Carlyle. Do you not remember this?
No,
I've
never heard that.
2013, Randy Carlyle. This was when he was in Toronto.
Do we need to give Randy an intro to like physics, biology,
There's
like,
something about the like foam in that helmet that made me think of that, just with like how tight that probably feels and not expansive. I'm like, what a dumb quote. What a ridiculous quote.
What does the heat have to do with anything? It's about the impact. What is the heat like? I'm gonna rename him Randy Isaac Newton Carlisle or something. Like just
Randy.
He's rewriting the laws of physics.
Ugh. Wow.
What a just batshit take.
I needed to say it because I was like,
but it's great.
Say this right now. I needed to look up the exact quote so I wasn't misquoting because it's so bad.
Thanks, Randy.
Nicholas Rage saying you guys can't think clearly because your headphones are overheating your heads.
Yeah, it's the heat.
It's the heat.
It's the heat. I really want a like scientist reacts to that quote just to see someone like melt down over it.
I'm shocked you did not you don't remember that quote.
No,
it's so bad.
I didn't even have anything to remember. I've never heard that.
Wow. All right, we're gonna get to Twitch. Go to twitch.com/CrashPond where you can subscribe to our channel, like our video, all that stuff. If you have Amazon Prime, you can throw us that there, or go to YouTube, youtube.com/CrashPond. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a little like spike. We're having a good time here, having a blast. Austin Price asked, "Who are your top two lines, assuming everyone is healthy for the stretch run?" This is our top two lines, not what Quenville will do.
Oh, okay. Daily faceoff. Okay, there we go.
Assuming everyone's healthy, I would do Terry, Carlson, Gauthier.
Yeah. And just keep the second line together?
I would do what's second line? Kreider, McTavish, Seneca right now?
Yeah.
Or would you do Kreider, Granlund, Seneca? Or do McTavish, Granlund, Seneca?
How about this? Kreider, Carlson, Gauthier.
Okay.
And then Granlund, Seneca, Terry? And then have McTavish in the bottom six?
I mean, third line.
Are you just are you just wasting McTavish at that point?
I mean, I said it. McTavish, like on a good team, should be a third line center at this point.
So you have McTavish as your 3C with Killorn and VL. And have Paling as the... It's just, what do you do with McTavish if he's not in the top six? That's my only concern, is like he doesn't really have a chair at that point. There isn't like an offensive guy to put him with at that point. You could also try McTavish at center on the second line with Terry and Seneca. That isn't, and then you have Granlund in the bottom six. Who else are they missing? Are they missing anyone else?
Just Terry.
Like, there's just no way this is there's no way this is the bottom six come playoff time. Yeah.
They're just missing Terry.
Oh, yeah, it's a conundrum.
Does Ian Moore go back to wing? Oh, Frank Vetrano,
No.
I guess. Vetrano was scratched. Also, is that noteworthy that Vetrano was scratched against Winnipeg and they have a great defensive game? It is,
because I didn't even notice or remember.
They scratched him for Jansen Harkins.
Yeah, I mean, that's very telling of...
He should be scratched. He has not been good this season.
That contract... Well, you could do McTavish, Killorn, Vetrano as your third line. And then Paling, Harkins... Can I just say it? Can I say what I'm thinking?
Sure. No, you
Paling is the third best center on this team right now. McTavish is not in that top 3. Like
Wow.
I just it would be weird. It would be weird to like. I mean, maybe that's harsh, but like
It's a little harsh.
McTavish has been really bad defensively this season.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
how
mean,
about this?
I
Okay,
think it's a fair statement.
how about this? I figured it out.
Okay.
Kreider, Carlson, Gauthier, Terry, Granlund, Seneca. That's your top 6. Those are your 6 best forwards right now.
Yeah.
Like 6 best offensive forwards. Third line, Killorn, Paling, McTavish on the wing.
Okay.
I think that that's his home. That's his
Okay.
forever home. And
Harsh.
then fourth line, not his forever home, but I just like saying that.
Harsh.
Harkins, Washi, Vetrano.
Sure.
I mean, realistically,
Johnson,
it's Johnson.
No VL.
but
Yeah. Can I
someone
also
just put
say
in all
this?
caps with no spaces every name in the top 12. So
I don't think Johnston's actually been that bad this year, but I do find
No,
it
he
ironic
hasn't.
if you think back to the very first time Strome was scratched, it was because he took 1 penalty in a game in Chicago, and yet against the Blues, Johnston had 2 minors and then a major for boarding.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Well, didn't VL have an offensive zone penalty yesterday?
Yes.
In the third period,
And there won't be anything.
I really like the idea of McTavish on Paling's wing with Killorn. I think that he could actually do pretty well there.
I also think those two negate his defensive deficiencies and allow him to maybe just open up offensively.
I guess it really just comes down to how do you feel about Granlund as the second line center. But
I think you live with it.
I really just think that McTavish is not among the 3 best centers on this team right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to move Paling down because McTavish has a name brand to maintain.
All right. Speaking of Mason McTavish, Harrison last brings up, would you trade McTavish plus a pick or Hellison for Nemec? New Jersey Devils want a forward. Ducks could use a younger right-hand shot defenseman.
No. Because they have Luneau coming. They have Ian Moore. They don't really have other RHDs, right-hand defensemen coming. But I don't know if that's what I'd spend it on. Also, I haven't kept up with Nemec at all, so I can't really speak on him. But
yeah,
it's not something I would target.
Darkwing Duck 91 said, if you guys were in charge, what moves do you make to ensure this team takes the step to being true contenders? Get Robert Thomas.
Yeah.
That's
Spend whatever you have to get Robert Thomas.
We just talked so much about Mason McTavish and like Mikael Granlund being the second line center. If you get a bona fide second line center, like I think the defense kind of eventually works itself out with the young players taking that step and getting those spots. What this team truly is missing, unless Roger McQueen becomes this, is a second line center. Like that's not Mason McTavish.
Yeah. Well, you also see the difficulties of not having a clear-cut second line center. What that does to trying to make a lineup is you have to shuffle and do things. Yeah.
And here's the other part of that is we saw during the Bob Murray era how many years they spent trying to get not having a second line center and how that impacted things. Like they tried Bobby Ryan at center at one point because of it.
Oh,
really? Yeah. And it really wasn't until that they made the move to get a Ryan Kessler in there that they started to solidify themselves by having someone behind Ryan Getzlaf. Like Koivu was great, but he wasn't at the tail end of his career at that point. Like if you can go and get Robert Thomas at 27 years old, locked up,
you're set
for 5-6 more years. You are set. I have said this many times. I'm going to say it again. You pay what it takes. You have so many young prospects. This is why you stockpile all of these. This is why my only annoyance with the Carlson deal is you could have used this first-round pick as part of that, as a valuable asset as part of it. Not as valuable as the prospects, but you still are just trying to add enough value to pry him out of there to make it worth it. You essentially have to make it worth it for St. Louis. And so that's what I would do if I was in charge.
Would you give them all of your picks for, I don't know, the next 2 draft, like all of your first and second round picks for next year and this year?
Sure.
So 1 first, 3 and 4 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, the Ducks are, like, I think what we have learned from the time period of the Ducks not being in the playoffs, if you look at the teams that have consistently been there, they have consistently said, fuck them picks. Look at the Vegas model. The Vegas model has been, if a player is available and you can get them and they improve your team, do what it takes to get them. Look at Colorado. Yeah. People, like, yes, like, trading away Callum Ritchie does hurt their prospect pool, but they've gotten Brock Nelson, re-signed him. He's been extremely impactful for them. Like, getting Nazem Kadri helps them as well. Like,
yeah,
you need to not worry. Like, I think we do get caught up at times, and that's my thing with the Carlson trade in some ways. I actually don't care if it was a good value trade or a bad value trade, because I think at a certain point you kind of throw that out the window and just simply look at, are they improving your team? Like, obviously, you don't want to kill your franchise by making a ridiculous overpay, but at a certain point, like, you need to look at it as how this works long-term for your franchise. And that is what this team needs to be doing, and not worrying about, hey, this is maybe more than we should give up for a player. If this makes the team better, they should do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's a good take.
Yeah. Darkwing Duck 91 also says, in case the first one wouldn't suck, it did not. I liked it a lot. Between Buffalo, Utah, and Anaheim, who is for real and who are pretenders?
Like this season?
I think this season.
I think that they're all kind of in the similar tier. I think I like the Mammoth the best out of those three.
I would agree.
Though.
I would agree. I think the Mammoth just have the most sustainable from, like, the way that they play. I think probably the Sabres and the Ducks maybe have the better high-end talent.
Yes.
I think that more so of the game breakers, I think Utah has the better overall system and play.
I'm just reminded of how bizarre the Sabres trade deadline was.
Yes.
So we can
but also
pass that.
Rasmus Dahlin. Like,
yeah.
He's so good. All right. 340 Valiant said, will a Black Ace come up and steal a spot in the playoffs? If so, who will it be? I mean, most likely it's Nestorenko or Colangelo.
Yeah. And
or I could
see those guys. I could see Nestorenko getting in.
I mean, do you think if one of the left-handed shot defensemen gets hurt, is it more likely we see Solberg come up, or we see one of the righties flip over with how many right-handed defensemen they have?
Righties flip over for sure.
Okay.
Solberg is not ready for that.
Yeah. But Darkwing Duck says Buffalo decided they were going to get a 6'6" defenseman or die trying. Yep. Don't get Colton Parayko, so get Logan Stanley and Luke Shen.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Very bad.
Very bad. Our good friend Lewis asks, what's the worst soft drink?
I don't know. I don't really drink soft drinks too much.
I've been on a kick, but I've been on 0 sugar ones, just to get a nice little soda hit for me.
I mean, I do sparkling water, but that's, it's different.
What's the worst soft drink? I don't know.
Why is it called the soft drink? Let's figure that out.
Because it's not.
Why is it called
easy? It's easy. It's not a hard drink. It doesn't have alcohol in it.
Okay, so then isn't everything a soft drink? That isn't alcohol?
I guess that's. I mean, okay. Now we're gonna look up the etymology of this. I don't know if etymology was the right.
That's
word.
more interesting.
All right. This is what we do after an hour 15. Where does soft drink?
Someone asked, and I think this came up earlier. Does McQueen sign after his college season ends this year?
You're the college. You're the prospect guy.
Well, but there's also the cap implication there.
Hey, I was right with etymology.
The thing is, he has to play though for his contract to kick in this season. For him to get paid this season.
Correct.
Can the Ducks afford to give him a game? I mean, that's the question.
Yeah.
Because I could see the Ducks wanting him to play in the AHL next season, but it's just it might not be worth it for him to do that, to sign it this season. I also just think he would benefit from another year of college. Like me personally, if we're just talking hockey, I think he should just play another year of college. Forget the AHL. The AHL is not great for forwards anyway, and just get to the NHL. a year from now or whatever. Yeah, play your one game a year from now and hit the ground running as opposed to trying to kind of fast track it. That would be my take, but who knows? Who knows what will happen there?
Yeah, this isn't really. I'm looking up the soft drink thing. It really is just kind of dumb. It's basically non-alcoholic drinks,
which doesn't work. Doesn't work. We need a better term.
We need a better.
It should just be soda. Just call it soda. That's what it is.
I think soft drink incorporates soda, sparkling waters, teas, all that stuff.
Teas?
I think you could say tea is a soft drink.
Is it anything that's in the soda fountain at the McDonald's?
Here is Wikipedia. A soft drink is a sweet, non-alcoholic beverage that comes in different flavors. Flavors can be natural, artificial, or a mixture of the two.
So sweet is the key there.
I guess sweet is the key.
So iced tea could be considered a soft drink.
Iced tea, if it's sweet tea, yes. Soft drinks are called soft in contrast with hard alcoholic drinks and their counterparts non-alcoholic drinks.
Well, yeah, we get that. We get that. Like
I'm just reading Wikipedia here.
That's elementary.
It's broadly used in labeling and on restaurant menus, generally a euphemistic term meaning non-alcoholic drink. Also, in many countries, such drinks are more commonly referred to by regional names, including pop, cool drink, fizzy drink, cola, soda, or soda pop.
Yes.
Also, Nicholas Rage brings up...
That makes more sense.
This is the one that is the most chaotic thing. Texas, they just call them all Cokes.
I don't believe that.
I have heard this.
Texas is a large state. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of different localities. I don't believe that everywhere in Texas they call it Cokes. I have a coworker who's from Texas, so I'll ask them this tomorrow.
Ask them if they say
everywhere in Texas.
I think it's like a Sprite Coke, or like give me a Coke, and they're like, what type? And you say a Sprite. Yeah,
everywhere
Nicholas
in Texas.
Says, can I get a Coke? What kind do y'all have? Yeah,
crazy.
That is chaotic to say. Yeah, can I get a Coke? And ask them what kind they have, and they say Pepsi.
You know what though?
Pepsi is a
that
Coke
makes
there.
That makes more sense than soft drink. How about that?
Here's the part that you're going to get mad about then. In English-speaking parts of Canada, the term pop is prevalent, but soft drink is the most common English term used in Montreal.
I mean, whatever. I don't care about that.
Okay.
It's just silly.
It's Kaser says, I think it's the South also for Coke. Like Alabama calls them all Coke.
I don't mind that. I think that's more on point than just calling it a soft drink.
I disagree. Coke is a brand.
Because when
you don't call like a root beer a Coke.
Sure, but a soft drink doesn't narrow it down at all. Like a Coke, at least it's like, okay, like I know what you're talking about. You're talking about soda. Soft drink, by that definition, could be anything sweet that isn't alcoholic. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't narrow it down at all. That means a lemonade is a soft drink. Do you consider that a soft drink? Do you consider lemonade a soft drink?
Lemonade is a soft drink, yes.
Because it's at the soda fountain.
It is a soft drink.
That's why.
It is not a soda.
Right.
History.
Sure.
The origins of soft drink lie in the development of fruit-flavored drinks. In the medieval Middle East, a variety of fruit-flavored soft drinks were widely drunk, such as sharbat, and were often sweetened with ingredients such as sugar, syrup, and honey.
I mean,
So
that's just
another early type of soft drink was lemonade.
Wikipedia. I'll take it a different way. Another example of medieval Middle Eastern Arab cultures being so far advanced. They were so ahead of their time in so many things. The Arabs invented algebra, right? People don't know that. People don't know that. The word algebra is derived from Arabic. And so, yes, they were ahead of their time. It doesn't surprise me that they invented that. And, maybe don't bomb those countries just to piss off someone else in the comments. Maybe don't bomb them. How about that? No more bombs. Is being against bombing, is that a political thing now? Is it political to be against bombing?
I guess so.
Apologies if that's political. I thought we were all team no bombing, but anyway.
Team not killing innocent people. I think that's a fairly normal statement.
Pro peace.
Pro peace, pro not killing people.
Pro unprovoked, pro
and
well, I guess not pro. Anti unprovoked wars of aggression. Is that also controversial?
If you don't like this, skip ahead, turn the episode off. Who cares?
If you don't like this, unsubscribe, unfollow. You don't have like. No, but it's just like, oh, I shouldn't have to listen to this. I shouldn't have to listen to this. Like, okay, fine. You're right. If you came here for a Ducks podcast and a little comment at the very end pissed you off, hey, I get it. Maybe I wouldn't want to hear it either. But First Amendment.
And I'll just say this. If it surprises you that this is our takes, I don't know what to tell you. Everyone heard me talk about Joel Quenneville and everything with that.
No.
So.
That's making it. This is to me, this is a nonpartisan thing.
Fair.
Like nobody like the platform of the president who is doing this was also against this. Like this isn't.
That is a fair point. Fair point.
Like don't back yourself into a corner for nothing there.
All right. Fair.
Now it got political. Just kidding. It's not.
Acoustic Walrus, by the way, just gave me credit on my hair, so thank you. It's just I didn't feel like putting on a hat. My hair had stuff in it already. Darkwing Duck said, off-topically, back on topic, holy crap, does this free agent class suck? Ducks will have to make a trade to improve.
I mean, that's every free agency, though, for being honest.
Yes. Oh.
Look, I'll just say this, just to put a bow on it. I get it. If you don't want to hear that stuff, totally fine. But don't be. This is all based off of one comment that I saw, so I'm being a little harsh. But it's like, hey, it's our show. We can say whatever we want, you know. It's a two-way street, freedom of speech. Okay, done.
All right,
leaving that one alone.
All right, I think that's it for questions. I think we're gonna end with that. That's a great way to end, Felix.
This went so much longer than. We were getting close to just leaving at the hour mark.
And then we got caught up. This is Lewis's fault.
But then bombs were dropped.
Drinks, and soft drinks were brought up, and it led us to the Middle East. What an adventure!
Yeah. I just want to shout out that the medieval Arab cultures and what they
algebra.
I mean, it's true. I mean. Anyway, I could keep going. Love the medieval period. Underrated period.
Shout out to the people in YouTube chat that are valuing us right now. So appreciate you guys. It's nice when we get some negative feedback to see the positive feedback for it.
I mean, it wasn't really negative. Like I don't think that the person who left it was like disliked us. They just didn't want to hear it because it didn't align with their politics, which is fine. It wasn't like intended to be personal. I don't think.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
And and that goes both ways. Like I'm not projecting it back in a personal manner, but I am reaffirming. I am reaffirming that I can say close to anything I want here, unchecked. I'm a dictator. What does that make you?
Who am I then? Am I the court jester? Is that what I've become?
Well, we're actually co-dictators. If we had a third, we'd be the triumvirate. Julius
what does
Caesar,
this make Connor and Patrick?
Julius Caesar. Why can't I name the three?
All right. On a hockey point, let's end with this hockey question. James Glenn Wright, 98,000 or 9,800 said, "What do you guys think about including McTavish in a package for Thomas? Do it."
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine, do it meme.
Julius Caesar, Pompey. You'll just be Pompey, but I think that means you end up dying. But I guess if I'm Caesar, then I end up getting stabbed by like 50 guys at once. So
this feels about.
This doesn't end well for anyone. The Roman Republic went down in blood.
This all tracks.
Crassus, yes, yeah, very sad. Well, not sad, but anyway. All right, done. I've been reading a lot of history lately, and I just need a forum to talk about it.
I mean, this show is our forum to do whatever the hell we want, to be honest.
There we go. Roman term, forum.
The Roman forum. The Montreal forum. The connection.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
Because
This show is never ending.
Are we just doing a bit? Like, is this just like a? Anyway, I heard someone mention on a podcast that I was listening to that what they would love to see the Canadiens do, but I think this could apply to a bunch of teams, is do a true throwback night. A true throwback night. So this would be like bringing back the Montreal Forum. So no ads on the ice, no ads on the boards, no music, no stupid games on the Jumbotron, no entertainment. The only music is the organ, which would have been played in the Montreal Forum, and no actual screen, no image being projected on the Jumbotron, just the time and the score and like stats or whatever, like it would have been back in the day. Just for one night. I think that would be really freaking cool. Just for one night, just to kind of step back into history. How do you feel about that?
Here's actually something you could do to make it happen. You let a sponsor, because that sponsor would get extreme goodwill with the fans.
True.
Hey, and like Montreal Throwback Night sponsored by, and maybe you give one like little like logo in the like center ice. Like you do a Throwback Night logo and their logo is in that logo. So you allow one sponsor logo in that little spot, and they pay an exorbitant amount to make it happen. So the league, everyone's happy about that. They get the goodwill of the fans, and everyone wins.
Well, because that's the whole thing of why it would never happen, is because you have to give up a whole night of income if you're the team.
That's why I'm trying to come up with a way to make it happen, but still keep that income.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, would that really work for a non-original six team, though? Like, that kind of night? Because the Ducks never had that kind of era. They were never a team in the, pre-1980s. So.
When did ads first come on the boards?
I think it would have been late 80s, early 90s, maybe even mid-90s.
Here's another random hockey history question. This show's never ending today. I'm accepting that.
That's
and
fine.
Just going with it.
I've given up. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen pictures of like old hockey games where there's like fence as compared to glass.
Oh,
when
yeah.
When did it change to glass?
That is a great question.
Well, granted, sticks weren't curved back then, so pucks wouldn't really go up and hit the fence as much. But I'm wondering, like, if it did, like, how it would wrap around with a fence.
I also think there might just not have been anything for some arenas.
There had to have been something behind the boards. Like
probably
pucks could
like
still
a fence.
Ramp up.
It was a fence. It was
like
probably
a chain link fence.
Yeah, bring that back. Why do we need glass? Well, it used to be actual glass, didn't it?
I mean, I would assume so. Picture the sound if it was a chain link fence.
Well, I mean, it's like if you play pond hockey. Like that's what it sounds like.
I've never played pond hockey. Wait, does pond hockey have fences as compared to glass?
Well, yeah. Usually, you don't have like plexiglass in an outdoor rink.
Oh, I've only seen Mammoth's outdoor rink. That's the only one I've seen that has actual glass.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I've played pond hockey, but also even like outdoor roller rinks. It's always. Oh,
that's fair.
Fence. Like there's the Heritage Park rink in Tustin.
Yeah.
And it's all a fence. So I love that rink. Shout out to that rink. Shout out to.
I've actually never been.
If you play at Heritage Park, leave a comment, because I never saw you. Because actually no, there were pickup games like once a week. So yeah, shout out to Heritage Park.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get out of here? We have a couple other questions that popped up in the chat. You want to hit them or no?
Sure.
All right. Michael H 6543 says the Ducks gonna ever retire Jay Shakir's number. I'm gonna put that unlikely. They've had so many opportunities at this point that I just think it's unlikely.
Are they ever gonna retire Ryan Getzlaf's number?
That is.
That?
Are they waiting for Corey Perry to retire to do that?
They have to be. They have to be.
Is Corey Perry a Hall of Famer?
I asked you that today, and you
didn't.
You
I was very busy today. I asked you a follow-up question of how many goals does he have, and you bailed on answering that.
He has one Stanley Cup.
He has 461 goals.
But he's played almost 1,500 games.
Sure. He has hit 500 goals.
Does he?
I think he has to hit 500 goals.
He has a cup, a Hart Trophy, two Olympic golds, World Junior gold.
He has to hit 1,000 points or 500 goals.
Memorial Cup champion.
I don't think he gets in. I don't think he gets in without 1,000 points or 500 goals.
CHL second All-Star team. Won a bronze at the U17 World Hockey Championship.
Snoopy is not a beagle. Says 64 playoff goals gets him over 500. I like the way you think. They look at regular season goals though for it.
I think he's gonna get in.
I think he probably gets in.
Just because of the aura.
Do you think he plays another season?
Oh, I think he has like 30 something points this season.
Yeah, he's been good.
He's
30 points.
He's still playing
30 points in 53 games.
He's outproducing. No, he's 2 points behind Mason McTavish this season.
Would he be
and
better
he's 40.
than,
he could be Mason McTavish's dad.
Would he be? Wow. that caused me to hit pause. Wow. Darkwing Duck 91 said, "Do you think we ever get a movie related on ice jerseys for the Ducks? They've leaned hard into the movies this past season."
I hope not, because personally I don't really care for those jerseys, and I don't even know if I could like talk myself into them. But I would appreciate them leaning into their history in that sense.
That's what I wish they would do. I don't care for. I'm not a fan of the first movie jerseys. If they do them, obviously the Mighty Ducks jersey, that's from D2. I just am not a fan of that jersey simply because the Ducks never wore it on the ice. Like the Mighty Ducks jersey was their initial jersey. They've never had that initial movie jersey as part of their repertoire. It feels like it's kind of forcing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I do wonder. I know everyone brings up the Mighty Ducks portion as a copyright, which was a dumb thing to bring up at the time. The Ducks own that copyright of the mask logo because the Samuelis owned the team when they wore that jersey. I do wonder if that original jersey though, because that was not part of the team's logo or team's that. I would imagine that could be a licensing issue. I would imagine that's still owned by Disney.
My brain isn't working anymore.
That logo with the duck on the front and all that stuff, I don't believe that would be owned by the team, so having that on a jersey would be hard.
Yeah.
I'm calling fans dumb. I don't even know what I've said at this point, so maybe.
Calling fans dumb? I don't think you are, but...
I don't know. Whatever.
I'm also just scrolling Twitter now while you're talking.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
I have to go to the bathroom.
I need to do dishes.
Everyone needs to know that. Yeah, but thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you to everyone's support. Thank you to everyone that listens. Good, bad, or indifferent. We appreciate everyone. Thanks for sticking with us throughout all these years of pain and misery and Ducks losing. Now no more. So if you want to support it and keep things going, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/crashthepond. For $2 a month, you get access to our patrons-only Discord server, which this time of year, with the playoffs coming up, it's a great time to join a diehard community of Ducks fans. You can up that pledge to $7.50 a month, where you get access to bonus podcasts as well as videos. You can also check us out. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, and follow us on all the different social medias. So with that being said, thank you for listening, everyone, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.